He describes seeing Martin Luther King on television and thinking, this is what it's like to be human, to be moral, to care about other people. As a freshman at Columbia in 1962, he had joined the campus chapter of CORE, the Congress of Racial Equality, one of the most militant civil rights organizations. He had also, like me, gone into Harlem with the Citizenship Council program, tutoring a black kid in his home in Harlem. His conclusion from that experience was very different from mine. The goal, he said, isn't to make black people more like you and me. It's that they take control of their own lives and their community. That's the radical position. The liberal position of superiority is condescending. Dave told me that he'd had a breakthrough moment just a year before. While taking the train to Harlem, he read in the paper that the United States had just begun the sustained bombing of Vietnam. He became extremely upset, and it must have shown on his face when he got to the house of the kid he tutored. The child's mother asked him if he was okay. He replied, I can't believe it. Our government is bombing people on the other side of the globe for no good reason. Bombing people for no good reason, huh? She said. Must be colored people who live there. That was a complete revelation to me, he said. She had never heard of Vietnam, but she naturally made the connection that I had failed to make, even though I've been working on both fronts, peace and civil rights, for almost 4 years. I was blinded by calling our system a democracy with some faults, while she understood it as being, in essence, a racist and violent system. Have you read the autobiography of Malcolm X yet? He asked me. No, I've been too busy with all the reading for freshman CC and humanities. Contemporary civilization and humanities were both required courses. Are they still?
Yes.
Still. Well, you'll learn a lot more about contemporary civilization from Malcolm than you will from reading Plato, he said. When Malcolm made the connection between third world people's struggles abroad to free themselves from U.S. imperialism and the black struggle at home, the CIA signed his death warrant. I didn't know that Malcolm had been shot and killed at the Audubon Ballroom on Broadway in Upper Manhattan just the year before. I made a mental note to read the book. I heard him speak at Barnard 3 days before he was shot, Dave went on. Probably the most formative experience of my life. He said that the division of the world isn't between black and white, it's between the oppressed, who are mainly people of color, and the oppressors, who are mainly white. He also said that white people can play a positive role by organizing within their own communities. Dave seemed to be knowledgeable on these things in a way that I wasn't. But even so, I recognized a lot of myself in him. He struck a chord in me when he said, our country unjustly attacked Vietnam. I can't stand by and allow this to happen, like a good German. Any Jew alive at that time would have known he was referring to the great mass of Germans who, in their ignorance, in their denial, and especially in their silence, allowed the Nazis to do their work. We didn't know it was their phony cry when asked after the war about the destruction of the Jews. I didn't want to be a good German either. Assuming that what you say is true, I said, and the war is morally wrong, so what? What can anyone do about it? Well, he said, we're part of a larger movement that will eventually end the war. People are working in different ways all over the country. We do what we can. In May, right before the summer vacation, we held an anti-war protest at the Naval ROTC graduation ceremony, he informed me, referring to the Reserve Officer Training Corps. 25 of us were there. We actually caused the ceremony to be canceled. The university called the city cops, and they got real nasty with us. They grabbed me and a few others and beat us with billy clubs. He paused. You know what I learned? No, what? Don't ever wear a tie to a demonstration. That fucking cop choked me with my own tie, he said, laughing. There was something so charming, so smart and warm about this guy that I told him I'd be at the next ICD meeting. Well, that isn't, perhaps it isn't the most dramatic action, and there is plenty of action in this book, but for me it was an important encounter. And for those of you who don't know, David Gilbert, his picture is in the book, is in prison in upstate New York for probably the rest of his life. And that story is also told in the book. So